am an author who writes psychological thrillers, and I was asked to participate in the Writing Community Bedtime Story. It's a hashtag that's running around Twitter right now, and I was asked by Chris Hooley, and I wanted to thank him for inviting me to be a part of this. However, I wanted to do a little warning before I read my book. It is a psychological thriller, so it isn't exactly a very nice bedtime story. So I just wanted to put a little caveat in there before I start to read. So I'm going to read to you the first chapter of the book, or a start of it. And this is what the book looks like. It's called The Caging at Deadwater Manor. This was my debut novel in 2017. It has won a couple of awards. The first one was with Florida Writers Association. They have a Royal Palm Literary Award that they do every year, and it won first place for young adult, new adult fiction. And it also won an international award with Reader's Favorite, getting an honorable mention. So I was really excited with the success of this book so far, and I wanted to share with you, the first part of the book and participate in this great reading kind of marathon that's going on Twitter. Probably before I start, though, just to get the suspense going, there's actually a backstory to the book. One is that I wanted to see if I could write a dark book, but also my dad used to work at psychiatric hospitals, and it was just to kind of fill in when, he needed to have extra work. And he hated working there. In fact, he'd come home really upset at night sometimes. And I never really understood what was going on at the time, because I was pretty young back then. So probably about 10 years ago, when I was looking for some kind of storyline, I asked him what it was like for him to work at the psychiatric hospital and why it made him so upset. And he told me that there were a lot of teenage girls there who were either strung out on drugs or were drugged by the hospital personnel, or were kept there by their family, even though there was really nothing wrong with them, that, they were kept there against their will. And he just really, really was upset over the girls that were there. He also shared that he didn't really see anything too creepy at the hospital, other than he found a couple of human cages in the attic. They were hidden away. Nobody knew they were there. They just kind of stumbled across them. And they were the size of twin mattresses. There was, like I said, there was two. There was a pink one and a blue one. Like I said, the size was a twin mattress. You could stand in them. They had wheels on them. And there was also chains hanging from the rafters with handcuffs on the end of them. So this is stuff that, personnel at the hospital saw. And so when I heard about that, I started thinking, and the wheels started going, and I thought, what would it be like to be stuck in one of those cages in a terrible situation? So I created the Caging at Deadwater Manor. It is a dramatic event. It's, the story itself is not a true story, but it is based on this true find that my dad had, as well as some of the patient routines that he witnessed while he was there, some of the treatments, and then other treatments that I did with my research with writing the book. So I just want to give you that backstory before I start. So hopefully you won't get too upset as I'm reading this before bedtime, but just blame it on Chris Hooley. Standing outside my bedroom, I take a deep breath before tiptoeing across the dark, creaky hardwood floors that lead down the hallway. The last thing I want is to draw attention. I've practiced the same pattern almost every day since I was a kid, just to be prepared for days like this. If I hit the boards carefully, odds are they won't tell on me. I'm feeling nervous, though. He's right around the corner. One creak and I'll be back in my room, stuck in my cell, wishing I could get the hell out. I hate him, really. When I was a kid, I would have never thought it possible. I used to look at him with adoring eyes like any daughter would. In time, though, especially with my mom no longer around, he's become more and more distant, and well, I guess there's no other way to say it, mean. I know every kid at one time in his or her life says this about a parent or two, but this thought is not fleeting for me like it is for others. They get over their anger and feel the bond again with their parent. I've never had that opportunity with him. Just talking to him sets him off, and his irritable mood always ends with another insult, especially if he's drinking. So I decided years ago to avoid him as much as possible. The best way to do this is to leave, and tonight is the same as every other night. I want to get out. I want to ride my bike along Bailey's Bluff Drive and the winding roads that lead me to River Park and my friends. It isn't the best beach along the west coast of Florida, but it feels like ours. My friends and I have gone there since before the park opened to the public, when the beach was pristine and the smell of boat exhaust was non-existent. I miss those days. Unfortunately, my dad came home before I could leave to meet my friends. He must have finished with his victims early. He's usually still at his office torturing someone in his dental chair at this time of night. Being the only dentist open late, useful for patients who work 9 to 5, means he has an easier time stealing their money with his overcharged fees. I never understood how a person by the name of Dr. Kynde can end up such a douche. I begin down the hallway, my muscles aching with each exaggerated step, and reach for the quietest spot while steadying myself against the wall. As I make my way, I curse him for forcing me to take the bedroom on the second floor, leaving me no exit route but the front door. That is the door to my freedom. Freedom that only comes when I feel the warm summer breeze sweep past my skin and witness the envelope of a pink and blue sky that's about to fold into its own darkness until revealed again in the early morning hours. It's only during this time that I can fathom escaping this hell. "Hey, Jeannie Weenie, a happy birthday, you old lady, you," my brother calls as he runs across every creaky board on his way toward me. I spin around to see his smiling face, which quickly freezes into an awkward stare when he sees me mouth, "Shut the fuck up." I quickly glance down the hallway for our dad. "What, you turn 18 and hostel all in the same day? What's up?" That's all it takes. I soon hear the clunk of his recliner and feel the vibrations from his heavy footsteps, which are now heading my way. In all of 30 seconds, my hopes of escape will be gone. "You absolutely suck, you know?" I spout back. Now I'm stuck having to deal with Dad on my birthday. Thanks. "Aw, come on. I haven't seen you all day and this is all I get? I'm your favorite brother, remember that? Or has senility set in?" I glare at him to be quiet, but now it's too late. I will soon hear the boisterous voice of my dad bellowing at the back of my head, wishing me an insincere happy birthday. I close my eyes, preparing myself. My heart begins its exaggerated thumping as soon as I hear his raspy breathing. "Rick, you talking in her good ear or what? Like to wish Miss Handicap a happy birthday too," he shouts, making his way closer to me. "Maybe she's not really handicapped. Maybe she's just faking it. We know how she likes to lie and keep secrets." He belches. The stench of beer suddenly permeates the air around me. I glance over to Rick, who's staring sharply at Dad, and then bow my head in hurt. My breathing grows shallower, and I move toward my room, knowing I'll cry as soon as I close the door. I hate my hearing problem, but I hate him more. It's not like I can't hear anything at all. My left ear is deaf, but my right ear is fine. Even if I were fully deaf, I'm not sure why he has to attack me over it. I can't help it that I was struck in the head with a baseball. Besides, why would I lie about something like that? Why is he questioning it now? "What's the matter, little sweetheart? Where's the happiness that you used to have, huh? Why the hell are you so miserable all the time? Could it be related to being a liar? Because perhaps if you hold your nose and blow out your ears hard, you'll be able to hear again, huh? What do you think about that idea?" He snorts in my good ear, holding my arm so I can't get away from him. "If you think that I'm wasting my money on some ear doctor that's going to tell me my daughter can function just fine, you can forget it." Now he's enraged, looking at me with disgust in his eyes. "Did you hear any of that? Or are you just stupid? Huh? Can you hear me? Huh? Huh? All I ever hear from you is huh. It gets annoying. doesn't it? I pull away as hard as I can, not wanting him to see the pain in my eyes, but he has too tight of a grip for me to escape. He then comes closer, slowly, resting his mouth near my good ear. I brace for the words that a child should never have to hear, words ingrained in my psyche since Mom died. You're nothing but an embarrassment to this family. We might as well lock you up and throw away the key forever. Lord knows, your mother must have regretted having had you. I don't respond, knowing I can never get back at him through the sobs. It's bad enough he's seeing the tears flowing down my cheeks and onto the floor, dotting the wood grain in no particular pattern. He pushes himself in closer, pinning me against the wall. What do you think, Jeannie? Should I lock you up for the rest of your life? Mom's gone, so you should be gone too. You need to pay for what you've done. I stretch as far away from him as possible, pulling myself toward my room. I know what you did to her, he growls. I reach for the doorknob until he finally retreats and lets go of me at just the right moment to make me slam into the door. I glance over to my brother. He looks horrified. It's the same look as always. My brother is no match for my dad. He has tried several times to come to my rescue, but he's not as big as my dad. Besides, it only fuels my dad's tongue into even worse offenses toward me. All my brother can do is watch and help me recover later. I fumble around until I finally find the doorknob and throw myself into my bedroom, slamming the door behind me and bracing myself up against it breathlessly. I can taste the salt of the tears on my lips as I wait for further character slaying. Please leave. Oh God, please make him leave. I rest my good ear against the door to hear him better. He's right outside my door. I can hear his breathing, a loud, erratic, gurgling sound that echoes through my room. You can't hide in there forever, Jeannie. We need to talk. So let me in. The door thuds against my back, sliding me forward until I dig my heels into the carpet and push away with all my strength. I don't care if he breaks me in two. I'm not budging. He'll have to break down the door to get to me. A couple of thuds later, he finally stops, clears his throat, and heads back down the hallway. As he leaves, I whisper desperately, "One of these days, I'll leave you forever, you bastard." His footsteps stop abruptly after my last word. My heart leaps. Panic sears through my limbs, making me push harder against the door again. I listen quietly for his return. After a few moments, however, he finally goes down the hall. I start to relax, but this gives way to the jerking and shaking of panic attacks, which I suffer from on a daily basis now. Panic attacks caused by my own dad. So that's the beginning of The Caging at Deadwater Manor. As you can tell, it starts getting pretty intense pretty quickly. It's available on Amazon if you're interested in reading more. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited with Amazon. So if you're in that program, you'll be able to find this book as well. So I am Sandy Will Books on Twitter. And thank you again to Chris Hooley for inviting me to be part of the series. Everybody have a good night, and hopefully you won't have any nightmares.